Hello, Eric and Melissa Mughal here.
Hi, everyone.
We are coming to you today because we want to talk about the thinking, the reasoning behind why people are telling you no at the end of your presentation or sales pitch, or why they're just not even engaging or listening. What is the thinking behind all that thought process?
And again, we like to share these things as tools to help you grow your business as well as make this journey a little bit more enjoyable. I know that there's sometimes in sales, actually a lot of different instances in sales that can be challenging, but at the same time, you're all in it for a reason. It's a very rewarding industry. It's a very rewarding field, and if you do it right, you can help a lot of people as well.
Yeah, and also knowing what the person across from you is thinking, or maybe they're not across from you. Maybe you're on a Zoom call, or it's a large group of people. What are they thinking while you're presenting to them? So we want to share with you what is going on, and hopefully this helps you. It certainly has helped us. So we will go ahead and get started with this.
Yeah. So this is actually an excerpt from one of my favorite sales leaders. He's actually local here from San Diego. So shout out to Oren Klaff, big fan, and
his book.
Pitch Anything. Yes. So with that, it talks about the structure of the brain, and I think it's important to know what you're dealing with, because that's what's running the person behind, the person on the other side. So let's start with what the brain looks like, what it consists of, and how to engage with it.
Okay, so there are three parts to the brain, and for the top layer, many people know about this part of the brain. It's the neocortex. Okay, and this part of the brain is where we do a lot of our thinking, where we interpret language, we do our decision making, like who we want to prospect, who we want to call. That's the neocortex part of our brain. The next part that we have is the midbrain. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Sure. So the midbrain is a part of our brain that analyzes social situations. And it processes information before passing it on to the neocortex. So it also collects information from the lower brain, also known as the
reptilian brain. So this part of our brain is, very primitive. It's the part of our brain that, we recognize a situation and it tells us, do you want to fight or do you want to flight? Let me move the sun out of our viewers way. Okay, there you go. So this is where most of our clients are going to be during your presentation. They are in that reptilian mindset. But before we go on and talk more about the reptilian brain, I want to just kind of paint a picture of what this thought process looks like. Okay, so imagine you're out and about and you hear a loud sound. Okay, the first part of your brain that's going to activate is the reptilian brain, and your brain is going to be frightened. Okay, do I start running or am I safe? So that's what the reptilian brain does. It's it's just what are the main basics that you need at any given time? Are you hungry? Do you need sleep? What else?
Fight, flight, eat, or mate.
Yes.
Basically.
Okay, so in that situation, you heard a loud sound. Your reptilian part of your brain is activated. Once you recognize that, okay, this loud sound came from a part of a car that backfired, maybe, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, cars do that. So our reptilian brain recognizes that, okay, the car backfire, we are safe. The next part of your brain that's going to be activated is the midbrain, which at that point you're recognizing the social situation. Okay, is everybody okay? Am I okay?
Where am I?
Where am I?
What's around me?
Yes. And at that point, the third part of your brain will be activated, the neocortex. Okay, what do you need to do next? what a logical thing would be next. Maybe help the person in their car if something's gone wrong with it, maybe walk away. So that's how our thinking works in this kind of situation.
But a big part of that is actually so the reptilian brain keeps us safe, and one of the main functions of that is that it also uses the least energy, and its main goal is to conserve energy. So the middle part and the neocortex parts of our brain are huge energy consumers. So
Right.
in order to determine whether or not it's worth engaging higher up the chain, if you will, the reptilian brain is the first to assess that, and that acts as the gatekeeper, if you will.
The activity that triggers the reptilian brain part of our thinking is any kind of dangerous situation. And when we talk about dangerous in a sales perspective, we're really talking about any kind of situation that might be, new or stressful, like someone approaching you to do a sales pitch. That is a very stressful situation for the client.
Even if you know them.
Even if you know them. So if it's a friend or family that you're prospecting, that automatically creates a stressful situation. If it has to do with money, or if the person presenting comes across needy, nervous, pushy, that's going to create a stressful environment.
One of the common pitfalls, especially for folks that are either starting off in sales or have been in sales but might just be a little bit jaded, or really anybody for that matter, they engage somebody in that stressful situation, and they might not see it as such, but they keep engaging that reptilian brain, and that's something where a lot of opportunities go to die just because you're engaging that part of the brain. They'll shut down. You keep pitching, and you think you've done your job, and it was all for nothing just because you weren't talking to the neocortex.
Right.
You were talking to the reptilian brain, which was acting as a gatekeeper the whole time.
Right. When you're in a stressful situation, two things happen, okay? Your client is going to think, okay, is this situation dangerous or is it new, novel, something I've never heard before? So if it's dangerous, they're going to
fight or flight.
Right. They're going to tune out. They're not going to want to listen to your presentation. They won't engage. If it is new, if they've never heard this before, they will want to engage. They will want to hear. But there are key ways to make sure your client or your audience actually listens. The first thing to do when you are in a stressful situation and the person you're speaking to or presenting to or pitching to is in that reptilian mindset, you need to command attention. So you don't want their thoughts to drift off. Whenever you're doing a presentation, the first thing is make sure it's not long. You don't want to be talking for, more than 20 minutes. Our attention span is low, especially in this day and age. So the longer the presentation, you're gonna lose that audience attention.
Yeah, you also don't want to use jargon. You don't want to use jargon. You don't want to use technical words, or you want to use layman's terms. You want to just talk like everyday people.
Yeah, you stay away from acronyms. That's confusing to people. Really, just the more you can spell it out for your audience and just make it simple terms, maybe easy visuals, that is very attractive to them. The less they can think in that stressful situation, the better. Also, when you're commanding attention, you want your audience to know that you're an expert. Even if you've just started in your business, you've got to be the expert. So know your audience, know what they're there for, know exactly why this product, service, opportunity would be beneficial for them, and elicit that. So when you start the presentation, you're the one who's going to take the stage. You're going to take the stage by already announcing what you know about them, about your audience. The next step would be to level the playing field.
Yeah, I like this part just because, again, I've got an extensive background in sales. And for the longest time in my career, I would respond to clients or even start off pitch meetings by thanking them for their time, thanking them for the opportunity for letting me present my product. One of the things that I took away from Oren's material is that this actually, unknowing to myself, put me in a position of it was
being needy,
being
yeah. Being desperate. Like he needed them more than they needed Eric.
Right. And when you're talking to the reptilian brain, it's important to establish a position of dominance by way, and if I'm starting off by saying thank you or I'm sorry for such and such, it just doesn't command that. So a part of that, and a part of that is also getting the reptilian brain's attention while not being threatening, right? So you want to have confidence in knowing what you're talking about and what you're presenting to them is going to have benefit. So definitely set the expectation, have an authoritative stance, and at the same time be professional about it. And a lot of times, if your prospects, you're going to respect that, you're going to have their attention, and then you're going to be able to pitch from beginning to end, and then and move on through your sales process from there.
You are presenting to them something valuable, something that could be so beneficial to them. So just know that with the reptilian brain, you just have to establish that level playing field. And the third part with approaching someone in the reptilian mindset that we wanted to share is keeping your audience engaged.
Yeah, so for this, the best way to do that is, and again, keeping along the lines of talking or engaging with the reptilian brain, is to tell a story. Really, one of the best ways to keep that part of the brain engaged is to show a prize at the end, whether it be a personal goal of theirs or something relatable to them that they want to achieve, and how to get there. And you'll find that this is really common in storytelling, where they show an ideal, or they paint a picture of what an ideal ending would be, and then they show they kind of tease in the middle, how to get there, but then something comes along to derail that, and then they bring it back and derails it again. So that's effective storytelling 101, I think.
Yeah, think about like movies that are always keeping you engaged, where you don't want to stop watching it, even if it's a bad movie. They have the climax, they have the end of the movie where it's still like exciting, and it just keeps the audience engaged. And that's how you want to approach your audience when they're in the stressful situation and using the reptilian mindset.
Yeah, actually, when you do check out of a movie, or like, you'll know that by the time when a movie's not good, that's actually your reptilian brain saying, hey, I've seen this already, like I've heard this story before, it's done.
Yeah, and you tune out, you disengage.
So that's really the simplest way to put it.
The next step in your presentation would be the closing, right?
Yeah, definitely. You can't, you always have to have an objective to a presentation, and that presentation is closing. So there's a lot more that goes into that. We definitely want to do it some justice and give it proper attention. So we'll follow up with that in the next video. But in the meantime, some of the takeaways for this is, and I think if you go back to it, it's this format in itself is just good preparation for yourself to better prepare you, to give you the right posture to even begin that conversation. So,
right. And when you're in a presentation, or before you even sit down and talk, keep these things in mind. Be mindful of them, so you know exactly what your client or customer or potential business partner is thinking while you're presenting. And this will just help you know what to say, what not to say, and then of course just get more people to buy into what you're presenting, to buy into you, into your brand.
So that's all we have for you tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time when we talk about closing.